Hi, my name is Miss Seaver. I'm one of the teachers here for ASL. I just want to give you some information about our program here at ETHS. We have about 250 students who take ASL here, so you have a lot of opportunity to use your language with your friends and people in the building. Most colleges and universities accept ASL as your foreign language credit, so think about that when you're going to college. ASL is the third largest used not English language in the United States. ASL has a lot of memorization, but you can use it in the community from the beginning of ASL 1, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll see you next year in one of the ASL classes here at ETHS.
Hello, 你们好，我叫周成宽. My name is Chen Kuan Zhou, and I teach Chinese at ETHS. Chinese is the most spoken language in the world, over 1 billion. The third most spoken language in the United States, 2.9 million, right after English and Spanish. Chinese is mainly spoken in China, several Asian countries, and some other parts of the world. Chinese uses alphabets for pronunciations, chord, pinyin, and strokes for writing. For tones are used to differentiate the sounds and the meaning of the words too. Besides, Chinese culture, history, and food will be something you may be enjoy, may be sure enjoy. Chinese is not as hard as some people think. However, adequate time and effort are needed. I believe you will do well in Chinese classes. You are welcome to experience Chinese and the Chinese culture. 谢谢.
Bonjour.
Je m'appelle Madame Turek.
Et je m'appelle Madame Dorman.
Je m'appelle Madame Romanelli.
Nous parlons français. Do you know anyone else who speaks French? Chances are you do. Did you know that French is the official language of more than 25 countries and is spoken in more than 50, such as
La France, Haïti, le Canada.
And that French is the fourth most commonly spoken language in the United States. And did you know that if you speak English, you're already speaking French? More than 20,000 words in English are of French origin. Learning French can open doors to an amazing world of opportunities.
Did you know that France is the fourth largest producer of cars in the world? It is also a major research center in the fields of high-energy physics and aerospace. And not to forget tourism. France is the most visited destination in the world, with over 80 million tourists every year. And speaking of tourism, if you speak French, it opens doors to many other cultures. Because I spoke French, I was able to travel to countries such as France, Haiti, Canada, and Madagascar, where we saw real lemurs.
So what are you waiting for?
Guten Tag und willkommen. I would like to tell you a little bit about the German language and culture. German is the native language of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and it is the most widely spoken language in Europe and the most widely used language on the internet aside from English. More than 150 million people consider it their native language. Germany is also America's most important European trading partner, and many companies are represented in the United States. Of all languages taught at ETHS, German is the most closely related to English, and more than 40% of words you use today are directly derived from German. That makes learning the language very manageable, and my students reach a very high proficiency level in a short time. German is absolutely phonetic, logical, and rule-based. You will be in small classes with great camaraderie among students and very personalized instruction with the same teacher for all 4 years. Will check us out. Auf Wiedersehen.
Shalom, I'm Miss Siegel and I'm the Hebrew teacher at ETHS. And here I have some students who will tell you why you should take Hebrew.
Taking Hebrew is like having your own family at ETHS.
Hebrew is spoken all around the world today, even though it's a very ancient language and it's thriving.
We get to bake a lot of food and sing a lot of songs.
You don't have to be Jewish to take Hebrew because it's applicable to everyone. In Hebrew class, we don't just learn about the Hebrew, the language, but we also learn about Israeli culture, and it's really fun and interesting.
So I hope to see you because Hebrew is swag.
はじめまして、バンクレです。This is a typical room in Japan with a tatami mat, and this is our classroom right here with all of our folders. I'm very excited to welcome you to our program. A lot of people are a bit tentative and hesitant about starting a language with a different writing system and sounds so different from everything else, but I want to encourage you to start from the beginning. It is a wonderful language, a lot of interesting aspects, the culture is really fascinating, and I take it at a pace that makes sense. I myself lived in Japan for 3 years, and I learned all of my Japanese from living in Japan and working. Just give you a little sample of things. For example, people are like, there are no cognates, but simple fruits like pineapple become pineapple, or bananas are banana. So there's a lot of borrowed words that we have in our language, so you do have a lot to go off of even if you are an English speaker. Even if you're a non-English speaker, there are only 5 vowel sounds, a, I, u, e, o. What you say is what you see, and what you see is what you write. It's a very straightforward language that way. It's just a lot of fun to explore and see. I hope you enjoy it. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Latin is the language of the ancient Romans, not to be confused with Spanish, even though the terms Latin are used interchangeably. Latin refers to the ancient Romans and the language that they spoke.
And the Romans are no longer in existence, so we no longer speak this language, meaning there are no oral exams in Latin. We focus mostly on the grammar, the vocabulary, mythology, culture, and history of the ancient Romans from the Roman Empire.
But that's not to say if you've taken Spanish or French that you won't see connections with Latin, because all of the vocabulary is coming from Latin originally. For example, if you look at these words on the board, we have the Latin word frigidus, which you can clearly see some English derivatives like frigid or frigidaire if you have a refrigerator at home. And the Latin word scribo, which means to write. So you can see things like prescribe, proscribe, inscribe, scription.
So we have lots of connections between the derivatives from Latin and those in English or other languages that you know, because Latin was the language that led to Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian, and Portuguese, meaning we have lots of connections. Latin is a great way to build your English vocabulary as well as your English language and writing skills. So people who take Latin tend to score very well on SATs, ACTs, other standardized tests, as well as expand their vocabulary.
90% of all of the words in English that we have that are 2 or more syllables come from Latin, and overall 50% of our vocabulary at least comes from Latin.
So if you like words, you'll probably like Latin.
Yay, go Latin.
Hola, soy señorita Sullivan.
Y yo soy señora Suleimani.
Y somos profesores de español aquí en ETHS.
And we are here to tell you guys some reasons for why you should take Spanish at ETHS.
Señora Suleimani, I love that quote you have up in your classroom. El mundo no es tan grande si hablas español.
Yes, that means the world isn't that big when you speak Spanish.
It's true. There are 21 countries where Spanish is the official language. I've traveled to 5 of them, and I love being able to speak the language of the place I was traveling in.
Yeah, and even if you're not traveling, just here in the United States, Spanish is the second most used language. More Spanish-speaking people in the U.S. than there are Chinese, French, German, Italian, Hawaiian, and native languages combined.
And that number will continue to grow.
Yes. What I loved most about learning Spanish was learning about the different cultures, food, music, and celebrations around the Spanish-speaking world.
I love all of those things too, and it's easy to bring them into the classroom. There are so many authentic opportunities to use the language, which makes taking Spanish so much fun.
I agree. And learning Spanish can be challenging, and it is. Our students work really hard, but it's well worth the effort.
Adios!
Hasta pronto!
外语要学中文，谢谢。
Étudier une langue.
Étudier le français.
Lern eine Sprache, lern Deutsch.
תלמדו שפה, תלמדו עברית.
国語を勉強して日本語を勉強してください。
Studiatis linguae?
Studiatis Latinae.
Estudian un idioma, estudian el español.